Okay, neat. So after you've cast on 50 stitches, your needle should look like this. And if you count your loops, there should be 50 of these each individual loops. And you will have a piece of yarn hanging off the bottom that is not attached to anything. And you'll have a different piece of yarn hanging off the bottom that is attached to your skein. So now we can start knitting. You'll need to get your second needle, and this first row, hi Maze, she does not like to let me knit. This first row is the hardest because it's tight. So what you'll do is you'll take this needle and you'll hold it in your right hand. And I know you're left-handed and that stinks because this is the direction that knitting is done in. So you'll take your right needle and you'll put it through this first loop. Put it through. You can pull the loop a little tighter if it kind of loosened up like mine did. That's not a big deal. And then you'll want to make sure that you're holding in your right hand the piece of yarn that's attached to the skein, not the piece of yarn that's attached to nothing. You can kind of pretend like that doesn't exist. So you will stab through that first loop. You'll take this piece of yarn, wrap it around your needle, and then you'll pull this needle through, and then you'll pull it off the left needle. A classic and very violent description of this is that you stab, you strangle, you scoop out the guts, and then you throw it off a cliff. Stab, strangle, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. As you're doing this, you may need to move your stitches as they get kind of tight from the other needle. So you can just kind of scoot them up, but don't push them off the left needle until you stab, strangle, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. And then you keep doing that until you get to the end of the row. And I'm just gonna see if I can get this even closer to my camera so it's super easy to see. Also, I'm shaky because I'm still a little, but see how when I stab it through, that loop is now looped around both needles. I wrap the second yarn around the first needle only. Then I pull that off. Stab, strangle, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. That's it. So a mistake you might make, and this happens to everybody, is you might accidentally stab through part of a loop and only catch like a teeny bit like that. Just take it off. It's no big deal. Try it again. And remember to move your stitches along with your other hand as you go. It's really easy to pull this super duper tight. You don't need to. It can be kind of loose, just casual. Okay, so now that you've gotten a few stitches knitted, you can see that you have 2 rows. Super exciting. I'll show you what to do when we get to the end. Okay, so now I'm at the end of my row. This is what it looks like. And a big thing that I would try to not do is like get this all twisted like that. Try to keep the part like that's getting longer, as in the stitches part, just at the bottom of your needles and just the loops at the top. So I'm on my last stitch of the row and I just wanted to show you how this is done. So same thing as normal, stab, strangle, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. But now your left needle is free. So you can put that aside and your right needle now becomes your left needle. Yay! So you should still have 50 stitches, which are these loops at the top. And now you have 2 rows, which is this bumpy first row you made, and then this is the second row. And you still have your tail that's connected to nothing. That's just waste. Don't worry about that. And you have at the front of your needle, it's connected to your skein of yarn. Yay. Perfect. So then we take our needle in our right hand again, and then you just start over. Stab, strangle, scoop, throw it off a cliff. Stab, strangle, scoop, throw it off a cliff. Maybe I can change my angle to be like stab. Sorry, that was a pearl. Stab, strangle, scoop, throw it off a cliff. And you're going to do that all the way across again and again and again until you hit the pattern number of rows that it says you're going to knit. Neat. Okay, so I fast forwarded a little bit to where I had a lot more work on my needle. So it's much more obvious to see where your knit stitches go and your loops on your needle compared to your work. So then really close up, hold your needles, stab, strangle, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. Stab, strangle, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. You're knitting. You should still have the same number of loops that you originally cast on with. So depending on what your pattern said, there should always be the same number of loops at the top on your needle. Okay, so from the point of view of the knitter, stab, strangle, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. Strangle, scoop, throw. Stab, strangle, scoop, throw. Stab, strangle, scoop, throw. Stab, strangle, scoop, throw.